You clicked for Ukraine versus Russia. You're in the right seat. Here's the question we answer. How do you crack a missile division guarding a nuclear command hub without trading jets for coffins? Ukraine waited through Christmas calm, then built a layered air corridor with drones up front and Patriots behind, fed by real-time coordinates, decoys, and EW. Stay with me. In minutes the skies shift, ground armor pins the flanks, and robots lead tunnel breaches. By the end, you'll see the blueprint that turns hardened bunkers into solvable problems. If a missile division sits under layered guns, radars, and concrete, what tool cracks it without trading pilots for coffins? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
This is one of the most ambitious long-range strikes by Ukraine deep inside Russia since the war began. This comes just days after Ukraine targeted a major offshore oil platform in the Caspian Sea. Kyiv has struck one of the largest Russian oil processing plants in the city of Yaroslav. The Kremlin hasn't confirmed any damage.
The site runs like a hardened node. Surface-to-air batteries ring the perimeter. Mobile launchers hide in tree lines and revetments. Overlapping radar sweeps link to underground bunkers tied by cable to a strategic command spine. Every courtyard is cut by blast walls. Every ramp points to an exit route. You don't hit a single target here, you step into a net. Holiday rotations tempt attackers with lighter crews and slower hands-on consoles. But the blueprint favors defenders even when coffee cups sit on the racks. Fixed mounts cover lanes you must use. Mobile teams sit on alert timers. The geometry of the place denies easy ingress even on a quiet shift. Then the reach problem. Iskander-class ballistic missiles and Smerch heavy rockets extend a long arm. They fire in packs, ride fast profiles, and complicate counter-battery. Try to stage a strike group in range and you invite a cluster of warheads onto your launch line. The first wrong plume gives them your grid. Underground nodes add another layer of pain. Depth blunts blast. Redundant rooms keep control alive after a hit. Physical cable routes route around jamming, so classic suppression of enemy air defenses struggles. You can blind a dish and the bunker still talks over wire. You're not killing a radar van. You're arguing with a buried switchboard. Air-breathing threats and ballistic timelines live in different worlds. A cruise drone ambles, broadcasts a trace, and gives shooters a minute to work. A rocket arc writes its case in seconds. That window pinches decision space to near zero. Human reaction turns into preset logic, and preset logic is designed by the defender. Defenders don't stand on one pillar. They run an ecosystem. Search radars cue fire control. Short-range point defense catches leakers. Decoys soak seekers. If one limb gets cut, another takes load. As long as one part lives, the system still fights. So you don't duel the fortress face to face. You reshape the airspace, then you start pressing the wiring, inputs, relays, timing links. Treat the site as a network, not a building. Take away the links, the rooms go dumb. That reveals the real target, not the concrete. The clock. Rotations, cold starts, the seams between sensors and shooters. If that's the weak point, your first move is to steal time in the sky by building a corridor that soaks the first punch.
On land, Kyiv has moved to striking Russian oil vessels at sea, which it believes are part of the shadow fleet used to evade Western sanctions. Russian refineries, oil and gas export infrastructure, pipelines, and offshore drilling infrastructure have been on its target list. Ukraine has struck at least 77 Russian energy facilities between August and November.
What happens when drones, decoys, and EW draw fire first so Patriots and M270 don't have to guess? You start with a simple stack. Small UAVs push ahead to sniff for emitters. Decoys trail behind to make noise and force switches on. Electronic attack rolls in to smear returns and slow the defender's loop. The moment a radar blinks awake, coordinates pass to the shooters sitting cold and quiet behind the line. But then the corridor gets tested. Russian point defenses try to swat the first wave. Fighters nose in to chase contrails and hunt for the control vans. One wrong orbit, one loud uplink, and the lane you built lights up for counterstrike. You keep the rhythm clean or you bleed assets for nothing.
Kyiv has moved to striking Russian oil vessels at sea, which it believes are part of the Shadow Fleet used to evade Western sanctions. Kyiv has struck one of the largest Russian oil processing plants in the city of Yaroslav. The Kremlin hasn't confirmed any damage. Ukraine is undeterred. It has been expanding its campaign against Russian energy infrastructure since July.
Meanwhile, recon UAVs build a live map. They listen for search and fire control tones, mark bearings, and cross-fix locations. Cameras catch launch plumes and trace the arc back to the pad. Tracks on mobile launchers drift across the tablet in near real time, and that breadcrumb trail becomes a plan you can fire on. Patriots don't sit as passive shields. Placed deep, they shape the sky. They strip out altitude bands, turn certain climbs into bad bets, and push interceptors into lanes where fuel and timing hurt them. Defense becomes terrain, and you make the enemy walk the alley you choose. At standoff, M270 and Kin fold the sensor map into timed salvos. Radar faces, ammo parks, relay masts, each one gets its window, sequenced so repairs can't chase the damage. You're not throwing steel at a dot, you're hitting nodes in order, so the network can't read it. Electronic warfare opens false doors. Ghost targets bloom where you want attention. Missiles and fighters drift into dead zones chasing echoes. The real shooters hold fire until emissions spike, then answer with clean shots on live gear, not scarecrows.
All right, another global news. The war has shifted from conventional battlefields to strategic economic targets.
Bright glow of light, a major fire, and a thick cloud of smoke.
Ukraine is amplifying pressure on Russia's energy sector. Moscow continues its bombardment of Ukraine's power and gas infrastructure.
For the next minutes, the corridor hardens. Unmanned systems eat the first salvos. The shield behind them stays intact. Ground units feel the air settle and start to roll, tied to a clock the defender did not set. The payoff is simple. The air stops being a Russian hunting ground and turns into a managed lane. Sensors feed shooters. Shooters drain defenses. And the push on the map starts to gain speed because the sky keeps its promise. With that done, the fight dives where radars can't reach, into concrete, mines, and cable trunks that still want to turn every step into a loss. If you can't bomb the bunker into dust, can robots and data cut its veins instead? Ground armor clamps the flanks and holds lanes open. Autonomous assault platforms nose into mine belts, probe berms, and test doors built to break human momentum. They take the first hits, mark safe tracks, and push breach kits to points where steel meets concrete. Tunnel fighting punishes speed. Booby traps sit just past the light. Choke points feed overlapping fire. The last-ditch plan is ugly but simple. Stall you, then bleed you in angles you can't see. You slow the pulse, let the machines feel ahead, and keep humans one room back. Small recon bots and FPV swarms go first. They trace firing slits, sweep corners, and tag tripwires. Feeds roll to squads waiting behind bulkheads. In seconds, a live floor plan grows, sensor nodes, cable runs, shooter nests. Routes update as doors open or collapse. Engineering payloads do the fine work. Microcharges pop hinges instead of walls. Line charges clear lanes through seated passageways. Cutting tools bite through conduit racks and comms trunks without caving the ceiling. The bunker breathes, but its voice starts to crack. Jammers come on to blind local triggers. Proximity fuses go deaf. Remote clackers lose link. Shielded teams step through in short bounds, not to chase bodies but to seize rooms that matter. Comms bays, power taps, guidance racks. You deny the hand that throws the punch. The target tree favors systems over trophies. Cut fiber. Fry relays. Grab storage and diagnostic units that certify missiles as ready. Captured consoles and arrays matter more than a cleared hallway, because credibility, not concrete, is what keeps a division in the fight. Above ground, the night tasks finish the shell. UAVs roll in low and drop guided shots onto the last live dishes. Relay masts lose panels. Control nodes cough, then fade. You don't erase the structure, you trim every organ that lets it act. By the end of the cycle, the division's voice goes quiet. The fortress still stands. The network is gone. That is a strategic kill, because a silent battery can't queue, can't coordinate, and can't threaten beyond its own fence line. So here's the question for you. In the age of UAVs and ground robots, can any buried center stay safe without dispersal and constant mobility, or does stillness itself mark the next target? Timing beats concrete. Integration finishes the job. Steal the sky with a managed lane, peel the sensors in sequence, then cut the cables that let the bunker speak. That's how a fortress loses reach without a crater in the yard. What would you do with a hardened node on your map? Comment your choice below. Start with EW decoys, air corridor shaping, or a robotics-led breach. Your call shows how you think about modern war. If this helped you see the method, subscribe. Join a community that seeks to understand the realities of modern conflict, because the next fight is already testing this blueprint.